want to make it quick for any of you listening in because I'm getting a lot of DMs about a certain type of Airbnb investment opportunity. There's been a bunch of ads about it. This is not in Dallas. I'm actually in Tennessee right now. I just spoke at an event called the Rental Retreat Expo, and I met with some other really cool operators, and that's what inspired this video. And yes, we'll talk about Airbnb arbitrage. Yeah, Mike, this hair is looking sick, isn't it? That hair transplant was amazing. Good to see you guys all. Now that you're all here, I want to nail this, right? I want to just hit the nail on the head, if that's the right way to put this. A lot of people have been asking me about co-listing. If you know what co-listing is, it's because you saw an ad. And co-listing is supposed to be co-hosting, but there's a group of people on the internet trying to scam people. And when you try to scam people, you try to make up a new word. So when people Google search that word, it doesn't show up. If you Google co-hosting, you get all of these resources for Airbnb co-hosting. But you Google co-listing, there's nothing there because it's made up, all right? And this lady at this event that I just spoke at, she was talking about the difference between being a host and a property manager. I need you guys to listen to this. This was really cool. When you only list on Airbnb and VRBO, you're a host, is her argument. The moment you start doing direct bookings is you're a property manager. You're actually spending your own money on advertising. You spend your own money on a website, and Airbnb is a marketing tool, and that's true. And if you want to then pick up other like investors or homeowners, that would be a good time to do it. But you should not really, in 2025, try to pick up somebody else's properties under a performance agreement if you don't have things to offer that they couldn't get elsewhere. And this is where co-listing is a scam. Co-listing is saying, sign up for our course and learn to message homeowners and put their property on Airbnb for a percentage of revenue. Well, you know, this industry is not new, guys. This has been around a while. And there's a lot of co-hosts, like real ass co-hosts that do a good job. And this lady, what she was talking about is that these co-hosts have housekeeping staff, they've got their own direct booking websites, they've got email campaigns. There's all this established stuff that co-hosts actually do to make sure that properties profit. And if you see an ad online that says, let us teach you to co-list, co-listing doesn't exist. They just want to scam you out of money to buy a course to pitch landlords on a product that they're not going to buy. And here's my advice for you as to why. You will fail as a co-host or as a co-lister unless you have your own Airbnb property first. You need at least one. Because what I teach my students to do, and this has been for years now, is get one property. If arbitrage is fine, or ownership, and do a good job with that one property. And then when you have the data, the cash flow, like the reservations, you can make what's called a pitch deck. And you present to landlords how you're really good at this. Even if you have just one property, you can say, I know what I'm doing. This is how we get profit out of this one property. And I'm confident that we can get you profit out of your own property. Where I don't necessarily agree with this woman is this concept that you have to do direct bookings before you can co-host. I don't think that's necessary because some markets don't really need to rely on direct bookings. Some markets do. So for any of you listening, get one property. And yes, arbitrage is still valid in 2025 for whoever asked. We're still picking them up. The one lady that actually just spoke here to, another girl named Haley, she's been in it for 2 years. She said almost everything that I've ever said. 2 years into the game, I don't think she watches my content, but everything she's talking about, even down to the number of sheets that she has per bed and how she does her laundry, I'm like, did this girl like follow me around 10 years ago? Because she knows every one of my secrets. And so it's cool that even like somebody who just started 2 years ago, what she has learned is the exact same stuff that I learned starting 10 years ago and the stuff that we've talked about on this channel for 8 years now. And the fact that she's repeating the same things having started 2 years ago means that arbitrage is very much still valid. Somebody 2 years ago got started, grew to, I think she's over 50 doors now, and she's saying the same things that I would tell you guys, like from her speech. So the industry has not changed enough that she is a different type of educator. Since her and I agree on a lot of stuff, everything that I've taught about arbitrage over the last 8 years is still largely valid. But I do want to repeat to you, you guys need to not listen to these ads. This co-listing scam is dangerous, and the number of people who are DMing me now about co-listing proves to me that they're spending a lot of money to try to hoodwink people about co-listing. So please be careful. With that said, I was just running here in I don't run that often, but I'm over 200 pounds now because I was bulking, and now I need to cut the middle down. So I decided to run through Chattanooga because it's like 50 degrees out, and after a long run, it doesn't feel so cold anymore. With that said, guys, whoa, holy questions, guys. Yeah, sure. I'll try to answer some questions. Opinion about STRs overseas. Absolutely. For example, one of my students is doing Tulum, and there's all these developers that have built these villas in Tulum and they need to get rid of them. So they're renting them out furnished for $3,000 a month. And some of those villas are making like $20,000 a month. I've got other students in Dubai that are renting these buildings in Dubai. As long as it looks like the Burj Khalifa, if you have a Burj Khalifa view, you're gonna make a ton of money. So there's actually plenty of markets internationally that are highly tourist that make a good amount of money. A lot of people do Pan Asia, but Pan Asia is good because you can buy a property with like 5% down. So why rent something when you can buy something cheap with 5% down? Because remember, arbitrage is about picking up properties without having to spend a lot of money. And you can buy in Asia for not a lot of money, which is really, really cool. I don't have any listings in New York, sorry to say. The closest I've gotten to is Philadelphia. And for those of you who know, I had to leave Philadelphia because a gang tried to beat up one of my housekeepers, put him in the hospital, after we helped the police catch a few of those gang members because those gang members killed a 73-year-old person. That made the news. Those 4 kids that beat a man to death with a road cone were part of this gang that kept breaking into my properties in Philly. And we helped catch them. And because we helped to catch them, they started breaking in and destroying all of our stuff and stalked our housekeepers and beat one up. So we pulled out of Philadelphia, but that's the closest I've ever gotten, was in New York. New York's got really interesting regulations, right? They really crack down. And I don't think you're able to make a listing without having a permit number, which is really the kiss of death for regulations. But a lot of other cities allow it. Like Dallas tried to ban it and they reversed the ban. Or they kicked it down the road to the point at which I don't think the ban's gonna go through. So if I was in New York, I'd probably look at places like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Connecticut, places in Jersey. There's plenty of places near New York, yeah, that you could do it. So don't be so concerned on New York itself. And yes, Derek, I do teach my students every Saturday. I'm on a Zoom for 5 to 8 hours. And if you go back, even just a couple of weeks, you can watch a video that I'm teaching my students. I think it's like a 1.5 hour long video or 2.5 hour long video. Just go back within a couple of weeks and you'll see me talk like the way that I coach my students. I do it every Saturday. And I've got 6 other coaches, there's 7 of us, that do live Zooms every single week, super hands-on. And I love what I do. So I probably will never stop personally coaching. It's the reason why I do what I do. So, well, thanks guys. Just wanted to warn you, co-listing is a scam. Tell your friends, share that. And I don't know who Mike is. If Mike was being mean, sorry, Mike. No, Mike wasn't being mean, promise. Like, this is a hair transplant and it looks great. That was a compliment, don't worry, I see. Thank you, KE. With that said, I'm feeling rested enough. I'm gonna go run a little bit more, this time uphill, and I'm gonna go eat with some STR friends. I'll be back in Dallas in a couple of days, then probably Mexico City after that. So stay tuned for some cool content. See you guys.